Hey guys, so we're here today to talk about the sale of 16 Montserrat Crescent in Caloundra West. Now this was a really unique property, it was an older property, it was on a large block of land, and there were a lot of features about the property that made it very saleable, but there were also some things that detracted a little. It was a little old, it was about 18 years old, it had all original finishes throughout, and so it was really about trying to establish value in the property to be able to get a great outcome for the seller. It's also an interesting story about how the seller came across us. He actually contacted us, he walked into our office looking for me to help him sell the property. I'd never met him before, and he'd done a bit of research on realestate.com and had found that he thought we were the agency that was able to get him the highest price. So he contacted us, came into the office, and it ended up being that he was renting currently the property through another agency. So with us, we do a lot of this tenant relocation. We assist tenants in moving out of properties, and for us, mostly, it's better to sell a property without a tenant in it, unless the tenant really presents the property beautifully. And so we actually took this management over. We were able to manage the property for him for the remainder of the tenancy. We helped relocate the tenant into a new property and help them with the transition process, which was really important to be able to get them out a little earlier than their lease expired. We then recommended some changes that needed to be made to the property, and the owner of the property is very handy himself, so he came in with a few of his friends and they actually did all of the work. So they painted it throughout, they fixed fencing at the back, they did landscaping, all of the silicons and grout, all of the stuff that we normally do to present a property. We were able to then open that property up. The second weekend, we ended up securing a buyer that was very interested in the property, but they had to sell their own. And this particular owner wasn't really interested in the subject to sale. So what we did was we actually waited a couple of days until the buyer secured a property contract on their own property, and then I presented a subject to sale contract to the current seller, but the subject to sale contract was subject to sale, but the people who were selling already had an existing buyer for their property, so it was very secure. Anyway, we went through that process. The property is now unconditional. We've been able to get the buyer to get early access to the property about 2 or 3 days earlier than the property is settling, and that's going to allow them to move into this property prior to their current property settling. We've been able to get them some carpet quotes, so they're going to get some new carpet and flooring put into the property before they move in, and it's a real win-win for both parties. But most importantly for the seller, and you'll see this on the testimonial that they will give, they gave us a range and we were able to achieve their top price. So this is an 18-year-old house, and it's all in original condition. It has some real points of value. It has no neighbours on one side. It's in probably one of the widest dress circle streets in Caloundra West. It's got a beautiful aspect, plenty of room for a pool. There's lots of opportunity to renovate and improve the property, and we were able to point all of those things out with a lot of the experience that we have in doing renovations and improving values on properties. We were able to get that price for the buyer. The buyer was happy to pay that price. They feel like they've got a really good property for the money that they spent, and the seller is able to get a really amazing outcome. And there's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And there's a lot of work that goes into achieving that for an owner, and it's something that we really pride ourselves at Aura Property and with Team Tav, is that we spent a lot of time making sure we get the strategy right, the presentation right, that we're dealing with the tenants appropriately and moving them out early if we need to, that we're doing the right thing by the buyer and the seller when we put a contract together, and all of those moving parts allow us to achieve great outcomes for people consistently. And I think that that's what Steve, the owner of the property here, saw in us when he read all of the referrals on realestate.com Rate My Agent, and the reason why he chose to use us. So if you're looking at selling, please give us a call. We'd love to help you. But for this particular property at 16 Montserrat, a win-win for both parties. It was a great outcome. We're really happy for Lucas and Gemma, who have moved into this property now. And again, if we can help you in the future, please reach out. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks very much.